Hello everybody and welcome back to the Salt Lake City Snowhawks expansion franchise. Our Snowhawks enter this Week 7 matchup at 6-0, the last remaining undefeated team here in the NFL, but this might be our toughest test yet. The Philadelphia Eagles at 4-2, they started out 0-2 but have now since won their last 4 as they return here to the link. They lost their first 2 home games here to start the season, and it's hard to imagine they fall to 0-3 at home to start this Year 5 season. The Eagles entered here the heavy Super Bowl favorites, but entered out of the gate, sputtering into an 0-2 start. But this will be an offense-only episode, as last time out we did a defense doubleheader, and we'll now follow suit, but the opposite form. And now we'll take our offense here against the Philadelphia Eagles. Although they will start with the ball, but we're here at the opening kickoff. And we're now underway here from Week 7. The Eagles' revenge on their mind after we added them in last year's NFC Championship game en route to our first ever appearance in the Super Bowl. And good coverage there off the return, although Braylon Trice there holding the wrist as already an injury timeout. And we'll see how our defense holds up here against an Eagles offense that is pretty much the same that they started with, although Lane Johnson retiring at right tackle, a big hit. And also Jordan Mailata out at left tackle in this game as Saquon Barkley, 3 straight rushes, does get them a first down. 8 yards there for Jalen Hurts on the scramble, and now 4 yards for Barkley, just keeping it on the ground. And finally through the air, they get 9 yards for Dallas Goedert, and quickly into Salt Lake City territory are the Philadelphia Eagles. 2nd and 7 now, and they get 4 yards for Will Shipley. On 3rd and 3, they get 7 yards for Kendrick Donaldson, the fullback, and now 4 players on this drive have recorded a carry, although -3 there for Shipley. So with 3rd and 8 now at the 22, as they do get the first down there for Calvin Presley. We remember him from last year's NFC Championship game, incomplete there on first down. And then -3 for Shipley, so make it 3rd and 13 now at the 15. And it's sacked there by Caleb Patton. The Eagles definitely remember him as he had 3 sacks in last year's NFC Championship game. So the Eagles forced to settle for a field goal attempt. There's Jake Bates. He's now 11 for 11 on the season. And now the Eagles killed over 11 minutes to start this first quarter, but just 3 points to show for it. So our offense now will take the field for the first time. Dak Kitchens on the kick return, and so he'll take that ahead to the 32-yard line. A good return as Lucas McDonald, the leading passer in the NFL, entering here Week 7, 2-time NFC Offensive Player of the Week so far. Hopefully he adds another one, but over 17 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Also 2 rushing touchdowns, almost 200 rushing yards to go along with that. And we'll get another look here at the offense. Carlos Alvarez, number 9, second-year receiver out of Florida State, currently 2nd in the NFL in receiving yards as Tank Bigsby a nice 5-yard carry out of the gate. Last week he had a pair of scores in that win over the Seattle Seahawks as we advanced to 4-0 in the NFC West Division play. And now here on 2nd down, a fake for Vince Willis. Off the play fake, we get Marvin Harrison Jr. fresh off a 4-year contract extension, and that one will go for 29. Now out in the I formation, Philadelphia showing pressure up at the line as we do get for Bigsby as he redirects through a couple lanes, eventually gets 3. But Harrison Jr. signed a 4-year, $103 million contract extension as we lock up our top receiver. And now here on 2nd and 7, there goes Mark Andrews in motion. McDonald will take the snap. From the pocket firing there has Darnell Washington, that one ahead for 8. Now down to the 22-yard line. Good answer here for the Snowhawks offense. Again, Andrews in motion. Back the other way. McDonald from the pocket. It collapsed on him, and he doesn't get that off in the hands of Carlos Alvarez, but falls incomplete. And for the most part, this Eagles defense remained intact. They were able to extend the contracts of Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, Cooper DeJean, and Quinion Mitchell, 4 of their starters here. Still with Josh Sweat and Nolan Smith, as well as Dontavion Wicks, a catch there as he will get ahead for the first down. Now first down at the 11 into the final 30 seconds of this first quarter. This one breezed by. McDonald able to hook up with Mark Andrews, and that one going to find pay dirt as a great answering drive here from our Snowhawks. The Eagles chewed up about 11 minutes, as we said, and we go down quick, about 3 or 4 minutes on our own, but we get 7 to their 3 as we take the lead here early on at Lincoln Financial Field. Mark Andrews, another touchdown, making now 5 or 6 so far for him on the season. A 7-play, 67-yard drive there for our Snowhawks. Ate up just over 3 minutes as we're now leading 7-3. Jalen Hurts an 8-yard scramble to start this drive as we're now into the second quarter. -2 for Barkley. So with 3rd and 4 now for the Eagles. And they do get the first down there for Dallas Goedert. Still the tight end here, 10 yards for Devontae Smith. We were hoping he would hit free agency, but he signed an extension earlier in the season. 10 yards for Barkley. Now 2nd in inches, another 8 for Barkley. First down at the 30. And they got another 15 for Devontae Smith. Now moving the ball very well but hopefully it stalls out again here in the red zone. 2nd and 6, and a penalty against Jonathan Grenard, and now makes it 2nd and 1 at the 6, and they get a first down for Will Shipley. 1st and goal at the 1-yard line, and the Eagles do not get in yet. 2nd and goal now, and they get in that time via the pass. Jalen Hurts hooks up with Dallas Goedert as they now take a 10-7 lead, as our offense again trailing as they take the field. Moved it down the field very well last time, 67 yards. Now McDonald, first time on this drive, as he will scramble for the first time, and he gets ahead for 11. Now up to the 41. McDonald, as Philadelphia sends pressure, he moves to the left and not going to be able to escape, as he's brought down for the sack. Josh Sweat, the first of the day for Philadelphia. That puts him back 6. Josh Sweat and Nolan Smith still the main edge defenders here for Philadelphia. Again, now McDonald going to try and roll to the left, as he does have some room to run, works up the sideline, and somehow finds some space as he works that ahead for, I think, 11. Now 3rd and 6 here from the shotgun. McDonald from the pocket backtracking again, going to try and roll out, but he can't, nowhere to go, as he'll be brought down for the sack. That's Steve Fisher, former first-round pick out of Stanford, his 4th sack of the season now, which does lead the Eagles over the likes of Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Milton Williams, as Fisher there disengaging from the block there from Colton Miller and sacking McDonald. 2nd time he was sacked on this drive, as we're now forced to punt. Logan Cook has been a very good punter for us after signing a 1-year contract this past free agency, this time from our own 36, as that's down to the 20. A short return, as the Eagles now will take over at the 24. Both Eagles' drives so far have resulted in points, and a penalty there against Caleb Patton, probably roughing the passer, propels them now up to the 39, first down, as Jonathan Grenard gets some of that back on a sack, and now 2nd and 16, 9 yards for Calvin Presley, now a 3rd and 7, and they do get a 25-yard conversion there for Devontae Smith. Our 3rd down defense has been phenomenal so far, but not in this game. I meant more so on the season, and then again right back for Devontae Smith. Another touchdown for the Eagles, and they take a 17-7 lead now, 6:18 remaining in the half, and our offense needs an answer, as we will watch this kick return. Probably going to be Dre Patton or probably Dak Kitchens back there. Hopefully gives us some good field position. This time it is Dre Patton, the rookie out of Butler, as he gets a nice block. Dre Patton now past midfield. Dre Patton up the sideline as he's forced out there at the 34-yard line. Our longest return so far of the season, and that's the rookie, the FCS standout. That is a great return to watch. I'm glad we tuned in for that one. I thought he was going to break it all the way to the house, but we'll take that one, as that's all the way down to the 34-yard line now. Prime real estate for Lucas McDonald and the offense. A short field to work with, and hopefully we can pay this one off. We got to get Patton some snaps at wide receiver if he's going to be making plays like that. And now here, first down at the 34. McDonald again being rushed, but we'll get that out for Marvin Harrison Jr., who works that inside the 20 for 16. Now first down at the 18, back in the red zone are the Snowhawks. A quick one there towards the sideline for Carlos Alvarez, as he's forced out after a 5-yard gain. Now to the 13 as we hit the 5-minute mark here in this second quarter. Another quick out there for Carlos Alvarez, as he is forced out, but not before getting the first down. First and goal now at the 7-yard line. McDonald from the shotgun. There goes Marvin Harrison Jr. in motion. And over the middle is Carlos Alvarez. He hangs on despite a big hit there from Zach Bond. 2nd and goal now to the 1. The Eagles stack in the box here. Bigsby is the back. Haven't seen him much, if at all. And now Marvin Harrison Jr. again in motion. He stalls out. McDonald rolling to the left. Going to try and finish the drive as he does on his own. And we get one back here. Now going to be 17-14 here late in the second quarter. McDonald using his legs, his 3rd rushing touchdown on the season. He had a passing earlier to Mark Andrews, and I thought he might be caught there, but too fast and such a short proximity there as Jalen Carter on his horse, but too little too late. McDonald finds pay dirt, and we get back in this one, now down 3. The Eagles, though, plenty of time here. All their timeouts, 3:42, as they'll take over at the 23, minus 2-yard rush there from Hurts to start. Now 2nd and 12, they get 12 yards for Calvin Presley, making it 3rd and inches, as we do hit the 2-minute warning, and they do get the conversion back for Devontae Smith. He's had a huge first half here, as we're now down to the 45, and now across midfield, a 6-yard scramble there from Hurts. But a Caleb Patton sack, his 2nd now. He is, I think, leading the league now in sacks, which now makes it 3rd and 11. And we do get the stop there, knocked away that time by Caleb Patton. What a force he's been in this one, as we do force the late punt there, as that one out at the 10-yard line, but 33 seconds remaining. I would honestly hope we just knee it or give it to Bigsby here. We do not need to force a turnover here in our own zone. McDonald going to throw it there, setting up a screen for Bigsby. some space to run as he is brought down inbounds. And now 100 yards passing now for McDonald. As it looks like we will just chew the rest of this clock, maybe call one more play as McDonald does take the snap. From the pocket, we'll just check over to the near sideline there for Bigsby as he makes the grab. But that will bring us into the second half, though. 17-14 here from Lincoln Financial Field. A very competitive, back-and-forth football game. You love to see it between two of the top teams here in the NFC. It very well could be another NFC rematch here between the Salt Lake City Snowhawks and the Philadelphia Eagles. For my money, I think we are the top two teams right now in the NFC, despite the Eagles losing those first two games to start the season. But talking about bad, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers currently 0-5, and they're trailing the Atlanta Falcons now heading into halftime. Cliff Boston and the Buccaneers desperate to get into the win column. The Falcons, we beat them a few weeks back. Deshaun Montague, one of the best up-and-coming young quarterbacks in the league, as he is the rookie out of Texas A&M. Pittsburgh leading the New York Giants 24-10 at halftime. Justin Fields still the quarterback. 3 touchdowns there in the first half. Glenn Tyson, the quarterback for New York, an interception. And now here, Denver at Indianapolis, as the Colts leading 14-7. The Broncos, a couple years removed from a Super Bowl, as they won it back in year 3. The Colts still Anthony Richardson, the quarterback. Jonathan Taylor still the running back. But now back here at Lincoln Financial Field, the Eagles still searching for their first home win of the season. And also we're still searching for our 7th win now, trying to avoid our first loss, trying to stay undefeated. As we are 6-0 now here from Lincoln Financial Field, opening kickoff to start this second half. And we're hoping Dre Patton can get another dynamic return, as he will get another chance here. Dre Patton will work that past the 30, and our offense will come back out. A good scoring drive there to close, and you see there the passing leaders now entering week 7, as Lucas McDonald is atop that list, ahead of Joe Burrow, who was about 50 points behind him. But now starting the second half, we are trailing by 3. 17-14 here, the Eagles lead. First drop back for McDonald, a quick one, as he will hit Darnell Washington. That one goes for 5. And the clock did stop, so maybe an injury on that play. I didn't see anything, though, as off the play fake McDonald, that one goes incomplete. 3rd and 5 now. Definitely want to avoid the 3 and out to start the half. McDonald trying to avoid the rush. There was Milton Williams breaking in, and another sack for this Eagles defense. I now think that makes 3 on the day, as a good start for their defense to start the second half, preserving that lead as they force the 3 and out. Logan Cook now on for the punt, as he puts that back to the 27-yard line, so the Eagles a chance to extend this 3-point lead. A fumble is recovered, though, by Terrion Arnold. He is injured on the play, but a fumble recovery for our defense, so another turnover, I believe. We did have good field position earlier, or was that just from the return? I can't remember, but now taking over here at the 45, as we had a 3 and out, and then our defense gets the ball right back for us, but Lucas McDonald again going to be sacked. That time Nolan Smith working off the edge there against Ike McConwu, and the 4th sack now for this Eagles defense. And we only have 110 total yards, but we only trail by 3. That is just crazy. But we have had good field position. I think that just goes back to my point. And there goes Mark Andrews in motion. 2nd and 18 now for Salt Lake City. There we do hit Andrews over the middle, as he takes that ahead for 7. Now 3rd and 11 here. Vince Willis is the back. On the drop back, though, is McDonald. Plenty of time to throw this time. I'm going to go to roll to the right, and I have no idea what happened that time. He was hit by Nolan Smith, but that pass just like saucered out to no man's land. But again, going to have to punt. Brutal start for the offense to this half. Logan Cook again punting that time inside the 20. A fair catch at the 18. Saquon Barkley 4 yards to start this drive. 5 yards for Devontae Smith. Now 3rd and 1, and they get a 7-yard rush by Barkley. Does get the conversion. 15-yard penalty against Caleb Patton. His 2nd of the day already. Probably another roughing the passer. And now 2nd and 8 for Philadelphia. Pass knocked away, so a 3rd and 8. Big chance here to get a stop, and we do get it. Incomplete there by Jalen Hurts, so our offense a chance to get some points back. Still down just 3 points. 9:32 left here in the 3rd quarter. A big answer there for our defense. It seems like we were not going to get any 3rd down stops here, but we finally do now out in the I formation to start this drive. We do go for Bigsby as he spins off initial contact. We're set for a couple. Total yardage is 297 to 119. Advantage Philadelphia to this point, but still a chance to take the lead or even tie it up here. We swing that out for Bigsby up the sideline as he carries a man, and that's going to be 3rd and inches coming up. Now 3rd and inches here, a big play call as we do get back for Bigsby, and he does get the first down. A good truck there as he boils over C.J. Gardner-Johnson and gets the first down, talking some trash there to Milton Williams. And Bigsby has added another dimension to his skill set among the leaders in pass catches among running backs. That time up the middle, gets a couple again. Now going empty here on 2nd and 8. McDonald going to set up a screen. That's for Carlos Alvarez as he finds a little bit of space, gets 7. Only one third down conversion so far for Salt Lake City here on 3rd and 1. Directly under center is McDonald. Bigsby there in motion. Drop back. A quick one for Andrews, and he hangs on through a big hit there from Josh Sweat. A short conversion, and we get it. Andrews, a lot of toughness showcased on that one. 6 minutes now left here in the 3rd quarter at the 45-yard line. Fresh set of downs. Again, McDonald on the drop back, but the blitz gets home way too quick. They sent almost everyone, it seemed. And Nolan Smith, his 2nd of the day now. That'll bring up 2nd and 15. Is that now 6 sacks, I think, for the Eagles. Our offensive line usually has been pretty well to start this season, but the Eagles very good on defense, obviously, especially up front. And even in the secondary, you could say. Now, Marvin Harrison Jr., another one, that one for 10. Their secondary actually might even be better than their front 7. Now here on 3rd and 5 from midfield. There goes Andrews again as the motion man. McDonald takes a snap again. Philadelphia sends pressure, and McDonald no time to do anything. As again, we're going to be forced to punt, which has been the case so far to start this 2nd half. Bring on Logan Cook, which has been the most frequent result, but that time all the way down to the 3-yard line. So very rough starting field position here for Philadelphia. Hopefully we can take advantage. Only 2 yards there on 1st down for Barkley. 2nd and 8. They get 5 yards to the fullback. And now on 3rd and 3 at their own 10-yard line. Only 2 yards for Barkley. So 4th down. Again, our defense comes up huge, but our offense, it's now time for them to answer the call. Still only trailing by 3 points. And good field position here at the 42. We're definitely winning the field position battle in this game, but hopefully that amounts to a win on the scoreboard. Philadelphia has definitely held control throughout, but we're still right there. McDonald, a quick one there for Wicks, as that gets 6. McDonald now up to 151 passing yards, and add a few more that time as he hooks up with Mark Andrews. That gets the 1st down into Philadelphia territory. Back out in the I formation as Philadelphia does stack the box. And we will go for Bigsby. There's really nothing doing that time, just 1. Now into the final 20 seconds here of the 3rd quarter. This could be the final play call, unless it's incompletion. We do go on the play fake, and again going to be sacked. Jalen Carter and Milton Williams both getting home that time. The 6th sack now for the Eagles, and that has been our detriment. That's been our demise, as we can just not get a consistent flow going. Every time we go, 1 step forward, it's 2 steps back, as it's 17-14 still here from Lincoln Financial Field. Definitely our most competitive game, our biggest test so far in this Year 5 season. We definitely have needed some adversity, and we're getting it here as the Eagles looking for some revenge in this rematch from last year's NFC Championship game. 3rd and very long here to start this 4th and final quarter. McDonald takes the snap, only sending 1 that time it seemed, as Mark Andrews in the pocket there, and he can't get ahead for the 1st down. That's going to be a 4th and 1 now at the 38-yard line, and we'll see what they like to do. We will just send this one normal. It would be a 55-yard field goal attempt, as that is good by Will Reichard. He's missed from beyond 50 already a few times this year, but a clutch one that time as he knots it up. And it's those big moment kicks that can keep you on the roster going into next year. So now all knotted up here, 17 all, as an incompletion there knocked away by Dale Gilmore. And now 2nd and 10, 6 yards for Barkley, bringing up 3rd and 4. And our defense has been huge on 3rd down, but again, a penalty from Caleb Patton. What is going on with him? He's had a few sacks and even a pass breakup, but that might be 3 roughing the passer penalties. And that one keeps this Philadelphia drive alive. 18 now for Barkley. 1st down at the 32. Another penalty there from Caleb Patton. What is going on? Does he need a little time on the bench? But a penalty there from the Eagles kind of evens it out. Not really. 7 yards for Barkley. Now 2nd and 3. And pass knocked away by Quay Walker. So a 3rd and short now at the 25. And another penalty against our defense. We've never had so many penalties in a game. And that sets him up at the doorstep. And a 2-yard pass there for Devontae Smith as the Eagles retake the lead. And they can just really, thank all those penalties. That was like 4 penalties on that drive alone, plus a few more earlier in the game now, outgaining us 346 to 192. Again, it's behind on the scoreboard, 24-17, 11:47 left in this 4th quarter. McDonald from the shotgun. Going to just swing that out for Bigsby, and Cooper DeJean, the leading tackler on this Eagles team, a big TFL that time, -4. Poor decision there from McDonald. I know you want to get your playmaker out in space a chance, but Just too big of a risk, but making up for it that time over the middle for Wicks. That one gets 11. 3rd and short here, need the conversion. McDonald takes the snap. Quick one for Tank Bigsby, was not ready for it. And Zach Bond was there in on coverage. So we are going to punt now from the 29-yard line with 10:35 remaining. And now the biggest opportunity for our defense to get a stop. A really poor punt there as the Eagles will take over at the 35. They get 7 yards for Barkley out of the gate. And then a first down just like that. And they're now into Snowhawks territory at the 39. They're just too good in this game. Devontae Smith is tearing us up. A 3rd and 3 now at the 32, and incompletion. So this will be a 49-yard field goal attempt, and Jake Bates does make it. Now make him 12 for 12 on the year, and now down 10 points, 6:30 remaining. Our undefeated record is now on the line, and our offense has to deliver in this spot more than ever. Trailing by 10, 6:30 left, taking over at the 30. Give there for Bigsby, and not much doing there. Now less than 6 minutes left in this affair, as we're trying to come back late here in Philadelphia. Over the middle is Carlos Alvarez. That one gets 8. In the next game, we are going to play the Seattle Seahawks, as we did beat them last episode, and as we had our defense out there. But this episode, like I said, going to stay offense only, as Mark Andrews back over the middle. He gets the first down and 10 yards. Now less than 5 minutes here in this Week 7 matchup. Rematch of last year's NFC Championship game. Darnell Washington, the motion man. Snowhawks here from their own 48. In the pocket over the middle is Darnell Washington, as he does get ahead for 7. Time is not on our side here, as we call an audible and hit the 4-minute mark now, as we're letting a lot of time tick away here. Carlos Alvarez now in motion, and we do finally get the snap off. Up the sideline there is Carlos Alvarez, so it does pay off in the form of 8 yards, although time is continuing to tick here. McDonald making a change there now from the shotgun. 3:30 now remaining. McDonald going to be sacked again. They send the corner blitz that time from the slot. Cooper DeJean is at 7 sacks now for the Eagles. And that is really, I think, the reason why we lost this one. Had to be more prepared for that. And then McDonald from the logo does hook up there with Mark Andrews, as he's able to catch that and run it ahead for 11. Now 3rd and 6, 2:50 remaining. Here at the 33. McDonald again going to be sacked again. They send the corner blitz, and that's now 8 sacks. Quinyon Mitchell getting in on the action. And now 4th and 13, we go play fake. And just ripping that down the field into coverage that goes incomplete. And the Eagles have dominated here on defense. All those sacks, we were able to put together a few drives, but all those sacks obviously just paid to be too detrimental, and we could not find our footing. Saquon Barkley, a tremendous performance. This one over 100 yards. He was the rushing champion last season, but did see a little bit of regression over the offseason, but still up to 88 overall, one of the best backs in the game. And he'll look to close this one out. He gets 6 yards there, another 5. As we're now post 2-minute warning, he gets another 2 there. 3rd and 2 now, and 10 yards for A.J. Brown, who has been silent this entire game. You know he's not going to be happy about that, as Jalen Hurts takes the knee, and with that they give our Snowhawks our first loss in this Year 5 season. You know, it had to happen sooner or later, and it kind of feels good to have that target off our back. We can kind of take a deep breath, relax a little bit, and we even knew this matchup against the Eagles was going to be a tough one. We knew they're going to be playing their hearts out, looking for that first home win on this season, as they've now won 5 in a row, and they're kind of right back in the saddle of frontrunners here in the NFC along with us, as it's likely to be a battle for that top seed with them. But now with this head-to-head victory they have over us, they do have that tiebreaker. So we're going to have to continue on our strong play throughout the remainder of this season, as we're now 6-1, about halfway through this Year 5 season. Not quite, almost, as Mark Andrews a touchdown early on. McDonald's still a very good game, but of course all those sacks just were too much to handle. Jalen Hurts went 20 for 27, 3 touchdowns. Lucas McDonald was 26 for 32, 81%, 1 touchdown, no turnovers. You love to see that. Rushing the rock. Tank Bigsby just 7 for 17. McDonald was our leading rusher in this one, 23 yards, also a touchdown. Andrews 7 for 62, a touchdown. Alvarez 6 for 40. Bigsby had 4 catches for 17. Wicks 3 for 28. Marvin Harrison Jr. 3 for 55. Okonwu and Miller each a couple sacks allowed. He could have figured that defensively. Leading the way tackling was Caleb Patton with 9. 2 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, but also like 4 flags. Grenard 9 tackles, a tackle for loss, 1.5 sacks. Sanders, Ruke, and Taylor Goddard also had a TFL. 3 sacks combined there just from Patton and Grenard. No interception. We did have a forced fumble though. That one from Terrion Arnold. A few pass deflections here. Gilmore, Sexton, Walker, and Patton. And it says 2 fumble recoveries there from Terrion Arnold. So maybe recovering your own fumble counts as 2 recoveries for whatever reason. Record 1 for 1 hit from 55. A big kick in the moment. Logan Cook had another punt there inside the 5. Dre Patton had that 58-yard return there on the kick, which was huge for momentum at that point. No punt returns as we fall here in week 7. And now to put that first loss behind us, we're now ahead here into week 8. And there's Byron Snow, the standout quarterback here into his 3rd season, former #1 overall pick, who are now 3-2 against in the head-to-head with Lucas McDonald. That's one of the top rising quarterback rivalries now in this new era NFL, as the Seahawks looking to get into the win column as they've now lost back-to-back games. They actually are coming off a bye week, so their last time out on the field was actually against our Snowhawks. How often do you see that where you're playing the same team in back-to-back weeks? As we're 4-0 right now in NFC West play, looking to advance to 5-0 and sweep the season series here against Seattle, as we've already done so against the San Francisco 49ers, and then we have one more meeting with the Los Angeles Rams after we beat them back in week 4, as both of us entered that one 3-0 as we handed them their first loss. Now back here at Snowhawk Stadium, as we are now underway here from week 8, our Snowhawks at 6-1, still the best record right now in the NFL, as we're looking to advance to 7-1. As a good return that time from Seattle, they'll take over at the 27-yard line. Now Byron Snow as now 2-3 against the Snowhawks in his career, as he's now into his 6th matchup. He's dropped the last 2, but on the season only 1 turnover to this point, 1 interception, and as a team we've only picked him off once in the 5 prior meetings. He had a rough go of it last time out despite no turnovers. He only completed 50% of his passes, including a 70-yard touchdown to DK Metcalf, as this time they're going to start for 17, already up to the 44-yard line, then 7 yards for Jackson Smith and Jigba, and already across midfield, or at least they were, until they get -3 from Kenneth Walker. Now a 3rd and 5 here to start, and they get an 18-yard conversion for Jackson Smith and Jigba, so already big hits to their top weapons, but rookie Taylor Goddard is able to counter for us. A 9-yard sack, already his 5th, I think, on his rookie season, as he's definitely going to be in contention, I think, for Defensive Rookie of the Year. And then they get 11 yards for Noah Fant. Now a 3rd and 8 at the 32. And we do not get the stop as Rondell Moore, 25 yards all the way now down inside the 10 for the Seahawks, knocking on the door. But another sack now for Caleb Patton, our 2nd already. And I think we sacked Byron Snow like 5 or maybe even 6 times going back a couple weeks in that matchup. Now 2nd and goal, a throwaway. Now make it 3rd and goal at the 13. And our defense hangs on strong here, forcing the 30-yard field goal, as Younghoe Koo does put that one up and good. The Seahawks now leading off an opening field goal drive. As we'll take a look at this kick return, we had Dre Patton going back to last game against the Eagles, had like a 50-yard return into enemy territory, although this time it will be Dak Kitchens who will open it up this time, as he'll work that up to the 26-yard line. And Lucas McDonald now entering this week as the 2nd leading passer in the NFL, trailing just Joe Burrow, as McDonald 9 yards short of 2,000. He's had 18 passing touchdowns to 4 interceptions, a really good ratio there, and already creeping up on his career high of 26 touchdown passes. And we'll see if he can add on to those totals in this one, as we'll start again for Bigsby, as really nothing doing that time, -2. McDonald dropped 353 passing yards in the last meeting, the most he's had so far against the Seahawks in this franchise. Now 2nd and 12 after the loss on the 1st down run. And McDonald here, just a 4-man rush, will go for Mark Andrews, and that one picks up 4. Now 3rd and 8 at the 28, trying to avoid a 3-and-out to start here, especially already trailing, as McDonald will step up and run, has the 1st down, and then some, breaks the arm tackle, and gets all the way up to the 45-yard line, 17 yards on his first scamper, as we're cooking now. Vince Willis checks into the game at running back, as we will pass it again. Over the middle is Marvin Harrison Jr., fresh off a 4-year extension. That one at, I think, $103 million, as that goes for 7 yards. And we also locked up Matthew Torrance, our superstar strong safety, to a 5-year contract with about $12 million per year. Now on the drop back here, 2nd and 3, McDonald will just throw that one away. 3rd and short now, directly under center is McDonald, making a change at the line. Tank Bigsby the lone back, 2 tight ends out there. On the drop back is McDonald, will have a man open. That's Carlos Alvarez, breaks the tackle and gets a couple extra, that one for 11. Alvarez currently 2nd in NFL in receiving yards, but he just has not been able to pass up Brandon Ayuk, now of the Cleveland Browns. Now 1st down, McDonald down the field, and that's going to be knocked down. A really good throw there for Dontavion Wicks, or at least we thought, as Devon Witherspoon, one of the best young corners in the league, able to knock that one down. Now a 2-time Pro Bowler here for the Seahawks. Now a 2nd down at the 37. There goes Andrews, the motion man, as McDonald will take the snap from the pocket again. A short one for Andrews, as he gets head for 5. That'll make it 3rd and 5 now, and again Andrews in motion. See if we can keep this drive going. 4-man rush for the Seahawks, as McDonald again down the field has a man open. That's Carlos Alvarez, and that one will go for 19, as we're now inside the 15-yard line. Great eyes down the field there, good pocket presence for McDonald, as he's really, maturing into a seasoned veteran now at this point. And again, a quick one there on the comeback for Dontavion Wicks gets 6. Make it 2nd and 4 now at the 7. Less than 5 minutes left in this first quarter. McDonald again, time to throw. We'll go second read there, checking it down, and that's almost intercepted. Knocked down, jumping out of a cannon that time, I think was Jimmy Gallery, the second-year corner, former top 10 pick out of Notre Dame, and also the former Heisman Trophy winner there for the Fighting Irish. Now forcing the 3rd and 4 here. Marvin Harrison Jr. in motion. McDonald will take the snap, going to check that over for Tank Bigsby up the sideline. He's forced out, and that will lose 1 yard. So we're going to bring up a 26-yard field goal attempt here for Will Reichard, as that one is up and good. So we tie it up here. The Seahawks back out there on offense, starting at the 19-yard line. A poor return that time. So let's see if we can take advantage to get 5 yards for Kenneth Walker on 2nd and 5, 4 yards. So a 3rd and 1 at the 28, and incomplete from Byron Snow. So our defense forces the 3 and out. We stand strong there on 3rd and 1. We force the punt. And just like that, our offense right back out there. 2:30 remaining in this first quarter. Tied up 3-3 here. Taking over at the 31. We'll give here for Bigsby as he finds a nice lane. Good reach block that time, getting over. And that gets the first down. I didn't catch who that was moving over to get that seal block. That might have been Mark Andrews, as he does now go in motion. First down at the 43. McDonald again will give for Bigsby, and that one just gets -1. I thought we at least got back to the line that time, but not the case, as we go backwards again. Darnell Washington now goes in motion out wide. They send a blitz here, picked up by Bigsby. Rolling to the right is McDonald. He'll be brought down for the sack. That's Unadeke Uzoma, the second-year man. Well, his second year now in Seattle, former first-round draft pick of the Kansas City Chiefs. As that backs us up now even further. 3rd and very long, now at the 35-yard line. McDonald from the shotgun. Time to throw. We'll roll to the right. Does have some room, but probably not enough to get the first down. Does pick up 6, but still will bring up 4th and 12 as Logan Cook going to be brought on for the punt. And that's Damon Finch, 3rd-year safety out of Clemson. Former 33rd overall pick back in the 2026 draft. The first overall pick in that 2nd round. And Logan Cook, a good one all the way back to the 11. And Seattle will come back out on offense at the 18, but that does take us into the second quarter. Now we're all tied up here from Salt Lake City. 3-all as the Seahawks taking over now at the 18 to start this second quarter. 7 yards for JSN, and then 8 yards on the ground for Kenneth Walker, which gets him a first down. 5 yards for Metcalf, now 2nd and 5, and they get 3 yards for Walker, so make it a 3rd and 2 at the 42. And again, we come up big on third and short. Seattle goes incomplete, and Jerry Sexton was there to knock the ball free, or knock the ball down for a pass breakup. So our offense gets the ball back. Still 3-3 here. Most of our matchups against Seattle in recent years have been low-scoring affairs. McDonald there for Mark Andrews. He hangs on despite a couple Seahawks right on his back. And there's Nicholas Spain, the second-year linebacker out of Michigan State. Last year's Defensive Rookie of the Year, a 4th-round pick, and still went on to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now on 2nd and 6, a drop back for McDonald. He hits Darnell Washington, bounces off a tackle, and gets head for the first down. You love to see Washington use that big frame, all that power he has. And we're going to see if we re-sign him or not off the play fake now. McDonald going deep down the field. That'll be knocked down. The intended target there was Carlos Alvarez, but that was the aforementioned Damon Finch making the play in coverage. Now 2nd down. Bigsby the single back, as he does get the call up the middle, and that'll be eaten up by Mozzie Smith, only a 3-yard gain. Making now 3rd and 7 as we hit the 10-minute mark here in this first half, or the second quarter. 10 minutes left in the first half, and another sack here for Seattle as they're getting home a ton. That's Glenn Hancock, the first-round pick from 2025, the first offseason in this franchise. 12.5 sacks in his 2nd season, and was actually a Pro Bowler that year, but since the production has dipped a little bit, but still definitely a noteworthy pass rusher on the Seattle team. Is another good punt there from Cook, as Seattle will get the offense back out there, this time starting at the 33-yard line, and both offenses now struggling to get something going. We see there Byron Snow, 4 rushing touchdowns, which is tied there with Josh Allen for 5th on the NFL leaderboard. Seattle taking over here at the 33 to start. 7 yards for Walker. A 5-yard rush gets a first down there from Snow, and 11 yards for Smith and Jigba as he's starting to tear us up. Incomplete there on first down, and then pass dropped by Noah Fant, so a 3rd and 10 at the 44, and another incompletion, but Eric Redmond is now into the game at quarterback, so Byron Snow has come off due to injury, it seems. We'll get a look at that after this drive, and our offense definitely has to seize that opportunity of Seattle losing their starting quarterback, or potentially at least to finish that drive, starting here in the I formation at the 20. will go for Bigsby as Brandon Davison, a lead blocker that time, as he sealed that one up nice. 8 yards for Bigsby. 2nd and 2 now up to the 28. And there goes Harrison Jr. in motion. Will get the pop pass and has a little bit of space to work with. Only gets 3, but the first down. Now up to the 31. Less than 5.5 left in the first half of play here from week 8 as McDonald will step up and run this time. Has a lot of space ahead as he works past midfield. That one going to go for 21. He's now over 40 rushing yards here in this first half, really using those legs to his advantage. Although he has been sacked a ton, as he'll try and check that down for Bigsby, but that's forced incomplete. I think that was Nicholas Spain there on the hit, forcing it free, forcing the incompletion now here on 2nd and 10, bringing the fullback back out there as Bigsby can't get going up the middle, no gain. Make it a 3rd and 10 now, as we're just barely here into Seattle territory. From the pocket, McDonald trying to roll out and again going to be sacked. And again, I think that's Glenn Hancock, his 2nd now in as many drives as he forces the punt here late in the first half of play. Seattle going to get the ball back, going to have some time to make something happen, but they might be on to their backup quarterback as Logan Cook, a touchback. And I did check out the injury report, and Byron Snow is back, so only a 2-yard gain there for Walker to start. 8 yards, makes it 3rd and inches now. And we do not get the stop there, which is unlike most of the 3rd and shorts so far in this game. Now 1st and 10 at the 33, a little 2-minute drill here as they get 11 yards for Walker. Still all their timeouts left to work with, knocked away there from Dakota Michaels. Now 2nd down, they get 4 yards for Rondell Moore. And now a 36 at about midfield, and that's incomplete as another punt forced by our defense, but that one all the way down at the 2-yard line here with 48 seconds left in this half. And at this point, we just have to try and avoid the safety in a tie, low-scoring game. You know, that 2 points can be a huge swing, as up the middle there for Bigsby gets 3. And I honestly would just run it down, knee it, do not risk getting stopped behind, in our own end zone and squander this tie football game. That would just be such an unfortunate series of events. As this time, we do get the flag, so we're going to go back half the distance to the goal. It was that motion that elongated the snap, and that will put us back a couple yards. That is just absolutely critical here with 17 seconds remaining. Now 2nd and 10, back to the 2. We'll get back for Bigsby, who gets a little bit of a cushion. He fumbles, and that is absolutely insane. Seattle recovers it. Damon Finch at the 6-yard line, and the Seahawks still have 2 timeouts. I think that's the first fumble we've surrendered over the course of this season, at least that we've seen. And who was there on the forced fumble? I didn't get to see. I know Witherspoon was there and on the hit. And what an unfortunate series of events, as I alluded to. Oh my goodness, I'm just in disbelief right now. A gift for the Seahawks. Snow from the pocket. He will have a man there towards the sideline. Now Fant will be forced out, and that will go down to the 1-yard line now. And I guess we're just going to watch the conclusion here of this first half. I still cannot believe what just happened there. Byron Snow from the pocket, being chased by Quay Walker, and Snow able to get rid of that one. And now here on 3rd down, they will just bring out the field goal unit, not going to risk anything. A little chip shot here from the right hash, as that kick from Young Hoi Koo is up and good, and Seattle takes the lead late here after that Tank Bigsby fumble. I still cannot believe we just coughed it up there pretty much at our own goal line. And, even allowing them just to get the field goal there does seem like a huge victory, but it should have been a tie game going into halftime. But instead, we're trailing by 3, as we'll call one more play here. Just don't turn it over again. Seattle up 6-3. McDonald from the pocket from the 20. Going to take a shot deep down the field. Where's that one going? And that one will fall incomplete. So a 6-3 lead here for the Seattle Seahawks at halftime after that Tank Bigsby fumble there. Gave it right to him at the goal line, but no touchdown, as our defense again hung strong in a short proximity to work with, as we've been huge on 3rd down, especially in this game. Byron Snow has been struggling to get going, as has our offense though. But now for the halftime report, as we'll look around the league, we'll see what the 49ers are doing, hopefully, or maybe at least the Rams. I think one of those teams we're on a bye this week, as we are going to start here in LA. The Rams hosting last year's Super Bowl champion Buffalo Bills. They are leading 14-10. The Bills a tough start to the season at 3-4, but even last year they were pretty bad in the first few weeks and went on to win the Super Bowl. Now San Francisco at LA, and the 49ers now trailing 17-7 against Los Angeles Chargers there in an in-state affair. Also, AFC NFC matchup. Now Tennessee at Denver, as the Broncos are trailing 14-7. The Titans, one of the worst teams right now at 2-5, but could get back in the hunt with a win there against an evenly matched AFC team. although the Broncos were 2 years removed from a Super Bowl championship in this franchise. But back to this one, I still can't get over that Bigsby fumble, but if we can come back strong in the second half, it won't matter. 6-3 here from Salt Lake City. We're trying to advance to 5-0 in NFC West play and improve our record to 7-1 after losing for the first time last week. Luckily, we do start with the ball here to start the second half. Only 3 points to show for our efforts, but hopefully a touchdown drive here to start can give us some momentum as Dak Kitchen's in on the return as he's brought down at the 28-yard line. So Lucas McDonald, the offense, back out there. And again, not going to get over that Tank Bigsby fumble unless we're able to overwrite it. But he does lead all running backs in receiving yards, which is something we did not expect coming into this season. He's racked up the catches, racked up the yards, and even the touchdowns too. I think 3 receiving touchdowns, which does match his production on the ground. And so get 3 right that time to start the second half. Now here on 2nd and 7. McDonald will pitch it now, getting some lead blocks there from Moreland and Colton Miller, but really only a couple there on the run. A quick 3rd down now here to start the second half. Mark Andrews there goes in motion back the other way. Seattle sends some pressure and over the middle there for Dontavion Wicks, but going to be short as he's snatched up quickly. Only going to get a few, and that'll bring up a 4th and 2, so going to have to punt, force a 3 and out on their opening drive as Seattle. A great defensive showing so far, and that's definitely the name of their game right now. As they're going to return that from the 16-yard line, and a good stop on special teams there by Seth Phillips, the second-year man out of Ohio State, but Byron Snow and the offense back out there trying to extend their lead as they got that late field goal to end the first half. As they try to extend that here, hopefully our defense can continue to hang on strong as they've done, but a 1st down there for Jackson Smith and Jigba, make it another 4 yards for him. And now 7 yards for Walker, gets the 1st down. Incomplete though, so now 2nd and 10. And they get 16 yards for DK Metcalf. Of course, had that 70-yard touchdown in our last meeting. And then 13 yards there for Parker Washington. As they have a very good stable of receivers here, of course, headlined by JSN and Metcalf. And speaking of Metcalf, he goes 20 yards to the house. And the Seahawks take now a 13-3 lead. And we are desperate now to get a little bit something going. We'll start this drive at the 30, and the Seahawks pretty much doubling our total yardage to this point. A delay give there for Bigsby. Poor play design, I think that one goes back too. Boye Mafe there on the disruptive play, and he's been very disruptive over his career, a long-time Seahawk now to this point. And we go back for Bigsby. He redirects, finds a lane up the middle, and a good gain that time. Finally, unbreaks through the stable a little bit, gets 11. As that brings up another 3rd and short though. 3rd and 1. Got to think we'll just try and pound it down the middle. Get this short yardage, but a big stop there defensively. They send the blitz there from the linebacker. A huge stop. There's Derek Hall out of Auburn. And again, our defense going to punt here to start this second half. And we are not playing well at all. Obviously, allowing that touchdown defensively was a big swing as well. And Seattle off the touchback, taking over at the 20. 5 yards for Walker, then 8 yards for Metcalf. Now a 1st down. They get 2 yards for Snow on the scramble. A sack there from Caleb Patton, his 2nd of the day. And I think he's still leading the NFL in sacks, which makes it 3rd and 13. A big win for the defense as they force the punt. And our offense now desperate to get something going late now in the 3rd quarter with 2:39 remaining. And still just 3 points to show for our efforts. I don't even really think we've been in Seattle territory besides that one time. And again for Bigsby, we just got to start not going for the run anymore. We should just abandon the run entirely. As again, Boye Mafe, the TFL. And now from the shotgun in the empty set is McDonald. 4-man rush for the Seahawks. McDonald will step up and run. And has some space now up the sideline. As he works that to the 38, a 20-yard scramble. He's now up to 63 rushing yards. I think doubling the amount of Bigsby as we'll go back for him. And only 1 yard. Now on 2nd and 9, McDonald. Going to run it this time again. Going to step up and run past the 50. As that one will go for 11. Now less than 30 seconds here in this 3rd quarter. 1st down into Seahawks territory from the pocket. McDonald now rolling to the left and will again tuck it and run. As he will eventually be tracked down, not before getting 2. And that will take us now into the 4th quarter. Still just 3 points for our Snowhawks, but a little drive developing here as we are trailing by 10, trying to stay undefeated in division play and avoid putting together back-to-back losses after our 6-0 start. Going from 6-0 to 6-2 is not what we wanted to do. As we'll start this 4th quarter, 2nd and 8 at Seattle's 46-yard line. McDonald, his first drop back, setting up a screen now for Bigsby as Randy Samuel's able to pick up a block in space, and Bigsby fights for the 1st down. Fresh set now up to the 38. McDonald from the pocket. Going to take a shot this time to the end zone, and that will sail out of bounds. Carlos Alvarez, the intended receiver there, and despite his wide catch radius, he could not come in with that one in that time. Another shot for Alvarez, but in tight congestion there, as he had a man all over him, which brings up a 3rd and 10 now. Mark Andrews in motion, and we did suffer that glitch where it doesn't let us come out of this slow sim, so we're going to have to watch the defense now. Glenn Hancock again getting home his 3rd sack, making a hat trick, and that one officially puts us out of field goal range back to the 43. And again, Logan Cook is going to have to come on for this punt. Hopefully we can pin them back, try and get some field position battle going here, at least to win that aspect. As a decent one that time goes all the way out to the 12-yard line, so Byron Snow has been heating up here a little bit in the second half. He's definitely more of a second half quarterback, I think we've discovered over the course of this franchise. And again, we were just going to stick to offense in this game, but that glitch happened where it doesn't let us come out of this slow simulation for whatever reason. So Snow there on his first drop back. We'll get that off for, I think that was Kenneth Walker, and that's Dale Gilmore in on the tackle. At least it happened a little bit later in the game here. We'll just watch this 4th quarter in its entirety pretty much then, as that was Taylor Goddard and Caleb Patton getting home as they split a sack there. Caleb Patton already a couple in this game, matching the efforts on the other side of Glenn Hancock, and even Taylor Goddard, the 1st-round pick out of Tennessee. A great game so far here in Week 8. Now 3rd and 12 back to the 11. As Snow, a quick rush there as they do set up the screen, and Matthew Torrance will track down Kenneth Walker, so a good 3-and-out force deep in their own zone, as our offense hopefully will take it back with good starting field position, as Townsend here in on the punt, Seattle from the 16, as this one will, I think, be fielded by Dre Patton, although it will be fair caught at the 38, so now just 11:51 remaining in this game. Lucas McDonald and the offense desperate to get something going, and as we mentioned, 2nd in the NFL in passing entering this week, although after his efforts in this one, he might be sliding down the list a little bit unless he can put forth a strong effort here down the stretch. Again, going to start for Bigsby, and again going to go backwards. Mozzie Smith just manhandling his block there. I think that was Colton Miller trying to keep him contained, but not doing his job. Now 2nd and 12, and this defensive line for Seattle has been super disruptive, even without the efforts really of Byron Murphy, who we haven't heard from. And now McDonald will try and tuck it again, but he cannot escape Boye Mafe. Now make it a 3rd and 15, and this might be the worst offensive showing so far of the season for Salt Lake City, and that time knocked down, and that will bring on a punt. Seattle now up by 10, trying to just bleed the clock now at this point. They will start for Kenneth Walker, and he's definitely better down the stretch, one of the toughest runners in the NFL, and Seattle, it's been a poor offensive showing for them so far this season, but definitely have picked it up this week so far. Now 2nd and 4, less than 10 minutes in this Week 8 matchup. Snow, 2nd read. They're going to be intercepted, and that's Terrion Arnold. Can he go back all the way up the sideline into the 20, past the 10, and eventually will be tracked down by Byron Snow, and that's exactly the swing of momentum type of play that we needed. Arnold, his first season after signing a 4-year contract in free agency, and just read that one all the way, comes over from Detroit, and he actually got upgraded to an X Factor a few weeks back. Now his 2nd interception, and undercuts that one. I think Noah Fant was the intended target, working towards the sideline, and Arnold actually was, up the field covering DK Metcalf, but read that one, undercut it, and now gives Salt Lake City prime real estate here, taking over. I think it's now inside the 5, but McDonald has taken a beating in this game so far. Glenn Hancock, of course, those 3 sacks, but no excuses here, taking over at the 4-yard line, and this is a totally new football game now. McDonald trying to roll to the left, does beat the first defender, and will not be able to break the plane, but does get down to the 1-yard line. Make it 2nd and goal now. They'll fake it and going to be sacked all the way back to the 9-yard line, and you just saw that one coming. I don't know why we're calling play action there at the 1, with the way Seattle's pass rush has been just tearing us up. So many blitzes as well now here. 3rd and goal at the 9, and that one McDonald just going to step up and throw it away. So we now will just settle for the field goal attempt. We were there at the 1-yard line, and now going for the 26-yard field goal at the left hash. That one up and good, makes it 13-6 now. It is one possession game, but we needed more of that prime turnover. Let's see if the defense can make something happen again here. 1st down as they start here at the 25. Byron Snow will find a man there. Noah Fant, I think that was. He will hang on through a big hit, gets 4. 2nd and 6 now at the 29. Snow will give for Kenneth Walker. Second cut, finds a decent lane up the middle, and that's going to go for 9 in the first down. Now first down up to the 38. Snow again from the pocket. We'll have a man that's Bryce Herman, second-year man out of Oklahoma, backup tight end, as that one falls incomplete now. Make it second down. 7:08 remaining. Still the Snowhawks have yet to find the end zone. Just 2 field goals to this point as Noah Fant there towards the sideline. Going to haul that in for 9, bringing up 3rd and 1. Early on, our defense was just stacking up the 3rd and short stops. Let's see if we can get one more. Snow. Backtracking in the pocket, going for a man there, and that's caught by DK Metcalf. That time able to beat Terrion Arnold, coming back to the football. And now just 6 minutes remaining here. Seattle almost in field goal range, which of course would make it a 2-possession game here very late. Now Byron Snow from midfield, as he is able to get rid of that one, takes a big hit there from Goddard. Good coverage down the field from Salt Lake City that time. And another chance to get their offense back on the field from the logo. Snow will fire that and has a man open again, DK Metcalf. I'm not sure why Jerry Sexton is the man in coverage against him. And now Metcalf over 100 yards, 7 catches, and that one maybe the biggest one despite a touchdown earlier, as that might just do it here. That works Seattle into the red zone. And with that, now less than 5 minutes remaining here in week 8. Snow out there in the empty set. A quick one does find a man, and that's going to go for the first down. Make it 1st and goal at the 7. Seattle already leading 13-6. Snow, again, great poise and patience in the pocket going towards the sideline. A short hookup does get a good gain there for Rondell Moore. And now makes it 2nd and goal at the 3. As we do hit the 3 minutes, 30 seconds left in this 4th quarter. Kenneth Walker up the middle. It takes a bunch to bring him down, but not enough as he just fights ahead, keeps driving, and not enough to bring him down. Look at that toughness from Kenneth Walker as he runs his way to victory here in week 8. The Seahawks are going to improve now to 3-4, and they are still in the hunt last year, barely snuck into the playoffs. It was our Snowhawks and the Seahawks with 2 late season surges that were able to clinch ourselves a playoff spot. We took the first matchup here against the Seahawks, but it looks like they're going to take the second in this series, give us our first loss in the NFC West division this year, as they're now up 20-6. Now probably too little too late for our offense, just 3:28 remaining, now trailing 14. A 26 game here. He's going to swing that out for Tank Bigsby as he does break the first tackle, and will power ahead, get 6. Our passing offense all out of sorts in this one, but our pass protection did not really hold up either. A quick one there, just 3 yards for Carlos Alvarez, as we are now in the hurry up offense. 3rd and 1. Probably 4 down territory, you would think, at this stage. And, I'm sorry, McDonald from the pocket. Going to fling that again deep down the field, and again going to be knocked down. That was Devon Witherspoon, Darnell Washington, the intended target. And McDonald has been very aggressive on these deep shots in this game, but has not hooked up on any of them. And now 4th and 1. I'm not sure if I like this look. And we will throw it. Again, a deep shot there, and that's out of the reach. I'm not sure if that was Wicks or Marvin Harrison Jr., but a turnover on downs. We give it right back to him, and that was Wicks. So Seattle, again, going to try and pour it on probably even further as they're rocking here. DK Metcalf, a tremendous game. He had a big one last time out and continues that success. And Seattle on the doorstep here of handing us our 2nd straight loss after our 6-0 start. 2:34 left as they will give for Walker, and he's wrapped up quite quickly that time. A good play there by Kwity Paye. That does bring us to the 2-minute warning, and now Seattle out there in the I formation. And they do go back for Kenneth Walker, who will be brought down to tag team tackle that time, as we do call a timeout. 3rd and 6. See if we can get a stop here and hopefully get our offense one more chance to restore some dignity here, build some confidence going into next week. Byron Snow wide open down the field is Rondell Moore, or that might have been Parker Washington, as a Seattle still threatening here. That takes him all the way down inside the 5, and we were calling timeouts on him as Byron Snow will head to the locker room. A late injury there for him, as they will go back to the backup for the 2nd time in this game. So maybe a nagging injury there for Snow. As 26 here for Seattle to give back for Kenneth Walker as he redirects, and that time will be brought down by Tashawn Gross. So we called a timeout earlier, then they called a timeout after that big play, and then we'll call another timeout here on 2nd and goal as Kenneth Walker, another touchdown here late, and just pouring it on are the Seahawks. A big win for them. They really needed this one, and we might have been needing to get humbled a little bit as we were riding high, entering this episode at 6-0, and now 2 bad losses here, especially that one to the Eagles, just very devastating. But this one might, hurt a little bit deeper this one an in-division game. Probably the Seahawks, our biggest rival so far over the course of this franchise, and they just had the answer for everything we've done in this matchup. And now just 143 remaining. I wouldn't mind just kneeing it and taking it into next week as another return here for Dak Kitchens. And so he'll take that one up to about the 26-yard line. After this showing, we are going to sim ahead a couple weeks, though, after this game. A matchup against Detroit and Miami, as that one sails away from Mark Andrews. Nicholas Spain, last year's Defensive Rookie of the Year. They're in on the coverage. He's all pumped up, as are most of the players here on this Seahawks team, as they're set to advance to 3-4, trying to set up a screen, and we can't even do that. But before we sim ahead another couple weeks, we do have to set our national scouting focus, so we are going to dig into the draft class a little bit here after this game. 134 left here in Week 8. McDonald over the middle of the field does have a good hookup that time for Carlos Alvarez. He breaks the tackle, still going now, as he's going to go all the way to the house past the 10-yard line now. Carlos Alvarez, that's going to be 74 yards to the house. That's exactly what we needed to end this week on a high note. I thought he was tackled. I think everyone thought he was down, but he was not. He kept going, and he's been phenomenal this season. He's been a 100-yard receiver, and I think 7 or 6 out of the 8 weeks so far. And he might top that this week after that big catch, not sure. But there just has not been much production in our passing game. But good to get a little hit late. A 3-play, 70-yard drive, but we could have used that a little bit earlier. So with that, the Seattle Seahawks have taken this Week 8 matchup, and they give us our first division loss of the year. We're now 4-1 in the division, going to try and advance to 5-1 with a, I think, Week 13 matchup against the Los Angeles Rams, but we're definitely being humbled so far in this episode. We were riding high after that 6-0 start, but now a loss to the Eagles, loss to the Seahawks, as we have to kind of re-examine things, take a look in the mirror, and, reassemble this lineup and just look at some things, as we are going to take on the Miami Dolphins, Detroit Lions here in a couple full-on sims. We've only had one of those so far this season, which we did end a big win over the San Francisco 49ers, and hopefully we can get back in the win column in each of those games. Looking at the box score, Byron Snow outdueled Lucas McDonald this time. We did get another interception on Snow, only his second of the year, but he went 26 for 40, 287. We are going to check up on what that injury was. McDonald just did not have it today. 15 for 29, 160, only 51%, a touchdown, but also added 80 yards rushing, 11.4 per clip. Kenneth Walker, 21 for 92, 2 late touchdowns. Tank Bigsby just 16 for 33, 1 fumble, as he gifted Seattle 3 points there to end that first half. Receiving, DK Metcalf, 7 for 102, a touchdown. Carlos Alvarez again went over 100 with that 60-yard catch. It was 74 yards, but 60 on the rack, as he ended 4 for 107, a touchdown. Again, going over 100, but no one else broke more than 13 receiving yards. We have to fix that. Marvin Harrison Jr. just 2 for 10. He's been very slow to get going so far this season. 3 sacks allowed from Miller, 2 from McConwu, and the tackle sacks allowed are always inflated. Leading the way defensively was 9 tackles for Matthew Torrance, fresh off a 5-year contract extension. 1 tackle for loss for Goddard, Pay, Grenard, and Patton. Patton had 2 sacks, 1.5 for Goddard, a half there for Sexton. Terrion Arnold, of course, had that long interception return, but if only he could have returned it all the way to the house. 2 pass deflections from Sexton, 1 from Dakota Michaels. Reichard was 2 for 2 on field goals, both short ones, as we fell here in Week 8 to the Seattle Seahawks. And now we'll briefly pay some mind here to the 2029 NFL Draft, as we are set now to set our national scouting focus. Our scout here, Grady Robertson, a 3-star scout with expertise at defensive tackle and offensive tackle. We already have set our regional scouting focus here in the West, Central, and also Southeast. We already did assign our scouting focus to defensive tackle in the Northeast, defensive end. So now looking nationally, we'll take a look at the overall board. Stephen Coles out of Pittsburgh, the top prospect quarterback who was not even projected in the first round in the first mock draft. Nick Freeman, wide receiver out of Clemson, was projected 2nd overall, I believe, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs and the Raiders right now, I think the only winless teams remaining. A couple tackles up here. And going by position, quarterback, receiver, we're not looking at, nor are we at wide receiver. But tight end, we have a bunch of guys in this class that we like, especially here the top guy, Roman Saunders out of Boston College, 6'2", 248, vertical threat. And he was not even mocked in round 1 in that last mock draft, but if he's available, I think he might be someone we take depending on how he tests. Pretty much every category is good to great, with great to elite agility, already B for spec catch, A for deep route, and he can probably be a very dynamic tight end at the next level. And even Junior Washington here, 6'2", 250 out of Oregon, another vertical threat at 21 years old. B for deep route so far, great to elite for change of direction, jumping, and acceleration. Good to great speed, agility, strength. Is going to be poor to marginal, so probably more of a receiving option, obviously, with B for deep route, C for spec catch, so maybe a little bit more athletic than Saunders, but the traits so far at least look better for Saunders than even a couple guys here on round 3 to 4 projections, even going into day 3. There's J.R. Copeland from Notre Dame, Justin Rogers from Alabama, Roosevelt Howell from Ohio State at 6'6", 275, and even on day 3 here, a bunch of guys we like. So tight end, a very deep class. We think it might be one of the best in recent memory. And if we're not able to sign Travis Weldon from Baltimore, a pending free agent, one of the most explosive tight ends now emerging in this franchise, we're going to be inclined to draft 1, maybe even 2 tight ends in this upcoming class. So now over to offensive tackle, which is an area of expertise for our scout. Here at left tackle, we'd only really be looking at 3 players here in Matt Skandrick, Brandon Miner, and Byron Jennings. All 3 of these guys round 1 to 2 projections, because Ben Bell, Thomas Falk, and John McPherson all going to be out of our range. All they're projected in the top 10. So if we were to go offensive tackle, it's only really for 3 guys here at left tackle, and over at right tackle, it'd be really for 2 guys here, Wyatt Robinson and also Anthony Bryant, who are both probably going to be selected before our pick anyway, and especially Virgil Morton, the 3rd-ranked prospect, he'll definitely be off the board. So if we go offensive tackle, it's realistically only for a couple day 3 guys here at right tackle, and then a couple first-round projections here in Matt Skandrick, who we would probably have to trade up for, maybe, depending on how we finish out this season. And he's definitely someone I'm very interested in at 6'8", 339, even though he's not a scheme fit with the power archetype. If he can move well, we'll definitely bring him in with that imposing side, already a B for run block. And he is going to have solid to good agility, great to elite change of direction, which is very good for a player his size, with also B for run block power. So I really do like what Matt Skandrick presents, and maybe one of our favorite round 1 options at this point. But we are going to pivot from offensive tackle. That was what I was considering this entire time, especially because our national scout has expertise here at the offensive tackle position. But I think tight end is just so much more quantity. And like I said, we're going to probably draft 1, maybe even 2 of these guys, especially if we're not able to sign our top free agent target this year. So I'm looking at tight end. Interior offensive line, not going to go too heavy into there. I think that is a secondary focus in one of our regions. At the end, we have 40% scouted on the top guys. We really like Ramon Starks here out of Penn State, 6'6", 278 tweener, can work off the edge, even go on the interior in the sub package. Also his teammate here, Trey Hurst, as they make up a great tandem on that Nittany Lions defensive line. If we go defense, it might be one of those players even going over to defensive tackle, as it's a very deep class. We really like Ed Stockton here out of Auburn, as we said, 6'1", 302. Run stopper already with B block shed and power move, C for finesse move and tackle. It looks like he's going to test pretty well in addition to that with A player X. So Ed Stockton definitely towards the top of our board, but might be out of our range as the top defensive tackle in this year's class. We also like Clayton Johnson out of Wisconsin, Raekwon Greenberry out of Auburn, and a bunch of others here down the line going into round 2 to round 4. So as I said, we do have a heavy emphasis within regions going defensive tackle, as a lot of those guys already halfway scouted. Linebacker, not pouring too much into that right now. Corner, really the whole secondary, we're pretty set on that for the long term, so we're not pouring many resources into that, more so up front on the defensive and offensive lines, plus tight end, which is where we're going to set our national scouting focus. Roman Saunders, as I said, maybe a target in round 1 this year if we don't go offensive tackle, and if we're unable to address that earlier in the preceding free agency. I also really like Junior Washington, maybe more of a target there in the 2nd round, but I think he's going to be a guy that tests extremely well, which will boost his stock maybe even to the late 1st round. But even if not one of those guys, we still have a bunch of guys here on round 3 to 4, and even on day 3 that we already have favorited on our board who are projected to test very well. So it could be a very strong tight end class. And even though that's not really a strength of focus for our scout in the national region, we're still going to do that. I wonder how much that'll impact it, as we usually do have it aligned where our focus meets one of their expertise points. But with that, we're now going to advance officially now into week 9, as we're going to host the Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa now up to like a 90 overall, as he is one of the better quarterbacks now at this point in the franchise. The Dolphins at 3-4 though, and they actually did start 0-3, so now have won 3 of their last 4 after that rough start to this season, trying to get back to 500 now, as we will sim ahead now to week 10, as we're going to host the Detroit Lions and of course close it in that episode after that. We do get back in the win column though. You love to see that, a 31-17 win there over the Dolphins. We will take a look at the box score as we drop 2 in a row here to start the episode, but now get back in the win column. Our offense posted over 30 points in this game, took a 17-7 lead into the half. No turnovers for our offense, over 400 total yards. McDonald, another tremendous performance, 336 passing, 4 touchdowns to no interceptions. He was sacked 5 times though, completed 74% And now looking at our running game, Tank Bigsby 11 for 47, McDonald 20 yards rushing, Vince Willis was 2 for 7, receiving Carlos Alvarez again over 100 yards. I think that's now 8 out of 9 games where he's broke 100 yards, 2 touchdowns to go with that. Mark Andrews 5 for 74, a touchdown. Marvin Harrison Jr. 6 for 68. Dontavion Wicks 5 for 52, also a touchdown. Tank Bigsby a couple catches. Vince Willis had 1 for 16. Defensively, Quay Walker led with 8 tackles. A bunch of guys here had 2 TFLs to go with that. Walker, Dale Gilmore, Taylor Goddard also added a sack. He might be up to like 7 now in his rookie season. Ruke Ororo had 2 TFLs, 2 sacks. He's enjoying a little breakout year now in a change of scenery coming over from Atlanta. to Sean Gross, 2 TFLs, 1 TFL, and a sack for Caleb Patton. He's racking them up now on this season. No interceptions and pass deflections from Dale Gilmore, Dakota Michaels, Catrell Clark, and Nathan Scruggs. No forced fumbles, and Will Reichert another miss here as he's 1 for 2 on field goals in this game, and again missed beyond 50. Logan Cook had a 68-yard punt in this game. No kick returns, only 1 punt return as we do advance to 7-2 now as we defeat the Miami Dolphins and now going to host the Detroit Lions, who we defeated in last year's divisional round as we upset them early on as they were hoping for a deep playoff run. And we did have another player of the week that time there against Miami as Lucas McDonald, his 3rd offensive player of the week so far on the season there in the NFC, as he's captured now a 1/3 of them to this point. He had 356 total yards with 4 touchdowns as well. Will Evans, I think he's had 3 as well here in the NFC. So it's been Will Evans 3 times, McDonald 3 times, Hurts, Purdy, and Jordan Love each have 1 as well. But now 3 Offensive Player of the Week awards now for Lucas McDonald here in this Year 5 season. And I think he probably got an upgrade as well. We have a couple upgrades we can tend to now, or actually just 1, as it is Lucas McDonald. And we can get him back to a scheme fit, hopefully, at this upgrade now up to a 91 overall improviser, up to a 95, though, from morale boosts. And I think coaching boosts as well, up to an X factor, as he has that blitz radar, spin cycle, safety valve, jukebox, gutsy scrambler, and comeback. And as we've been harping on, he's now off his rookie contract in next season, and we will just bump that field general up, and hopefully that made him a scheme fit. I don't think it does, but we get +4 for play action. That's pretty good. +1 for throw power, and still not a scheme fit, up to a 92 overall improviser now. The short and medium accuracy is maxed out. 91 for throw power, 98 for throw under pressure with that 93 speed, 89 acceleration, agility, and 88 change of direction. So definitely one of the best young quarterbacks we have on our roster, but we're going to have to lock him up long term here very soon. And I see there that the Jaguars actually traded Travis Etienne to the Chargers, but we're not going to dig into that right now. We're going to sim ahead now past this matchup against the Detroit Lions as they're 2-6, currently sporting a 4-game losing streak, and they did lose a lot over the offseason, including their top 3 cornerbacks. We did take Terrion Arnold from them. They lost Jahmyr Gibbs to the Carolina Panthers, as we do come away with a 25-24 point victory as we win by just 1 point there, barely edging them out. As we've now advanced to 8-2, we will take that. We'll split this episode after starting 0-2 there in the offensive showing, and 25-24. You love to see that. We were trailing 21-10 at halftime, but outscored them 15-3 in the second half, and were able to take this one by 1 point. McDonald went 21 for 31 with 67%, 2 touchdowns, 205 passing. Jared Goff, 250, a touchdown interception, 73%. They are also now without Jahmyr Gibbs as he went to the Panthers. They did draft a running back in the first round, that being Darrell Williams out of Ohio State, but just 1 carry for 6 yards in this one for him. But on our team, Tank Bigsby 17 for 47, McDonald 20 rushing yards, a touchdown on the ground. Vince Willis 3 for 14, receiving Carlos Alvarez not 100, just short at 6 for 92. Mark Andrews 4 for 47, a touchdown. Wicks at 5 for 37. Marvin Harrison Jr. 2 for 7 and a touchdown. Tank Bigsby 3 for 16. We had no sacks allowed. Quay Walker led with 7 tackles. 1 tackle for loss from Kwity Paye. Another sack for Taylor Goddard, now 8 so far on his rookie season. Definitely, I think, the front runner for NFC Defensive Rookie of the Year. And then 4 half sacks down here, so a couple here split between 4 players: Sexton, Dakota Michaels, Jonathan Grenard, and Caleb Patton. An interception here from Dakota Michaels as well, his 2nd now in his rookie season. A couple more of those and he'll definitely be in the running. 2 pass deflections from Nathan Scruggs, 1 forced fumble again here from Terrion Arnold coming against his former team, and Will Reichert 1 for 1 on his only field goal attempt. That one from 53. Logan Cook, a pretty good day punting on only 2. But this is where I'm going to leave, folks. Thank you so much for watching. It was an up and down episode. Started off down with 2 straight losses, our first 2 in this Year 5 season, but we rebounded very well with back-to-back wins now in these full sims against the Dolphins and Lions. Next time out, we're going to be on the road Monday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think they are atop the NFC standings right now. We will get a standings check here as we close this episode, but we're now up to 8-2, and the Kansas City Chiefs 8-1, so the top two teams right now in the NFL set for battle in primetime next week, and it could be a preview of Super Bowl 63 as our Snowhawks desperately trying to return, and we definitely seem to be on that track here so far in year 5 now. 8-2, a 2-game winning streak, and we'll try and keep that going next week as we face the top team in the NFC there in Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. But as always, everybody, it's been real, and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.